And welcome to another episode of Down in the Blocks with Chris Young, CY, and our expanded stellar lineup of panelists we're going to introduce here in a second. 24-25, baby. Basketball. Michigan basketball. Thank God it's here. Because Michigan football has been a nightmare, and we'll talk about that some other time. But my co-host, CY, Chris Young, the former Michigan Wolverine pivot man, number 45 out of Detroit Catholic Central High School.
Yes,
the Shamrocks came there in, 98?
Yep, 98.
And proud alumnus, proud basketball alumnus. And are you excited about this basketball team?
I am. I'm cautiously optimistic about this team. You know, the preseason they had them picked to finish 9th in the Big Ten, and it's because no one knows how all these pieces are going to fit together. So, you know, they could finish 9th, they could finish 18th, they could finish in the top 5. Like, who has any idea?
Yep. Well, two CYs left to my right. The dot man, Mark Dotson, graduated from the University of Michigan the same year I did in 1979.
80.
Oh, you were 80. Okay.
5 years.
Okay.
Pharmacy.
All right. So 1 year after I did. But way smarter than I, and successful at, attorney and Cooley Law School here, prominent figure. And whenever there's an issue on television that does with legal matters, there's the dot. There he is, baby. They know who to speed dial. Welcome, Dot man. How you doing right now?
Doing great. Good morning.
Yeah, it's great. And you have this afternoon, real quickly, a pretty significant event you're going to attend. Just why don't you talk about that real quick?
Yeah, well, if we're talking about the funeral.
Yeah, for Greg Harden.
My wife's uncle has passed. No, that was Greg Harden was yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Okay, so you have another funeral today,
which is personal.
Okay, personal. Okay, well, so you're hitting the circuit today. Yeah. Well,
I'm ready to slow down a little bit and get in front of my TV tomorrow and watch that beat down of Sparty.
Boy,
man.
I enjoyed the conference. Can you say that about 27 more times, and then I'll believe you?
Beat down.
Wow. What do you think about that, co-host Jeremy Nordquist, proud alumnus, Eastern Michigan University, basketball and baseball, letterman, whatever. Hey, great to have you back, and we love your input on basketball. And so, where do you stand on this Michigan State thing?
Oh, you mean football?
Football or basketball? I mean, so as an EMU guy, where do EMU guys stand?
I've said this forever. I love watching good basketball, good football. I think Michigan basketball, like CY said, I think they're going to be good. I think Dusty May is a great coach.
I do too.
Right?
Mm-hmm. I do too.
I think Michigan State rolls in the Big House.
Ooh, rolls. So define. We're talking about football tomorrow night, 7:30.
Yeah.
The corner of Stadium in Maine. So what kind of margin we talk? I mean, the dot man over here talking about a blowout. I don't know how he defines.
When I say,
are you a double-digit win for Michigan? You're thinking tomorrow in football?
No,
just
I'm hoping for a blowout of Sparty.
Oh, you're hoping. Okay.
I'm not. I am not expecting.
Okay.
I was in Champaign.
I let the legalese go over my head. Okay, it's hoping.
Yeah. I'm trying to speak it into existence.
Wow. Very clever. That's impressive. That's impressive. We can all work with that. Yeah. But we're going to talk about Michigan basketball. Last Friday, this is where Dusty May is so cool, bringing the media down, it was a long practice. They had a lot of NBA scouts there evaluating the talent. And I remember last year, guys, the open practice we had, and I never saw the ball go in. I mean, I'm talking about shoot around. I mean, it wasn't going in.
Were they trying to make it?
I mean, it was like the ball was. I'm looking at. Have you seen the ball go in? That was last year.
That was a rebounding tree.
Maybe they had one of those rebounding things. I don't know. But much more settling looked this year, and this is a good team. See why? One of the questions I asked Dusty is like, who is the go-to guy? Because can we think back to these last 2 years at pivotal moments in the game, like who had the ball? Was it Jett Howard? I mean, who never got a shot off and things like that?
it was the last couple of years we never really had a guy. We never had someone that they're. Give me the ball. Give me the ball in the last 5 seconds because I know I could get a shot off. We never had that dude. We never had anybody that wanted to step up.
Yeah.
And now I think they've got 2 or 3
well,
guys
and I threw the same out to Dusty, and he kind of bid on it in my Roddy Gale of Ohio State.
Yeah.
The dude can fire. They did a shooter. There are a lot of shooting drills, and I'm telling you what, man, the dude could fire.
Yeah.
That's somebody they need. I'm not saying he's Mike McGee. Dot man will laugh about that,
but he's an older guy. He's been through the Big Ten for a couple of years now. Like he knows what it takes to win in the Big Ten, and he's going to be that dude. Like he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, and he's going to be calling for it at the end of the game. He's going to be calling for it at the end of the shot clock. Like I know I can get a bucket here because I've done it already.
What do you remember about him at Ohio State?
Big, tough, physical, could shoot it.
Well, physical,
yes.
Physical. I mean, he's built like kind of a racer. He's got a lean kind of muscle to him, but he's quick laterally. I mean, I studied that. He's like that guy that they haven't had.
Yeah.
Why do you think he left? What's this?
I don't know. You know what? I don't ask.
I think that's the only reason why you jump to your rival school. I think that there's almost no other reason. Okay, maybe you had a connection with the new coach that's coming in or something like that as you were getting recruited out of high school. Yeah. But, I mean, to jump from Ohio State to Michigan, I mean, that's, you never see it going the other way. You never see guys jumping and going to Ohio State. You never really see guys going from Michigan to Michigan State back and forth and all that.
Right.
Like, there had to be a reason. And it's got to either be Dusty or it's, he got paid.
Or the transition to the new coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we never heard the story. That is odd though.
Yeah.
To go from Ohio State to Michigan.
You don't see that.
And I think, pardon.
You don't see that very often.
Yeah.
We have. You're seeing football. Michigan football guys have gone to Ohio State a couple times.
Yeah. But it's not common.
Yeah.
And Ohio State's supposedly is loaded on the NIL front, right?
Yeah. Well,
maybe not for basketball.
Okay.
That's
good point. On football.
You caught yourself there. Yeah.
Because I heard they got a $20 million payroll in football. Is that? Can you?
Well, nobody knows. That's what folks like.
That all subjective stuff.
Because most of the NIL money
is that fanboy throw out jargon. Okay, so in practice, Dobbin, I'll start with you. So in practice, they have situational things, and so I saw 2 7-footers there. Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf, and wow, big dudes. I think that's going to work out.
Obviously, and I watched the video of the game against Oakland.
I didn't see that game.
I don't know if it's because Oakland's just really small.
Well, they lost a lot.
But Michigan looked really big.
They're big.
They're big.
And Will Cheddar looked good in that game.
And they play big.
Yeah.
Walters is what, 6'10"?
Yeah, he's skinny. He's skinny as hell, but he's quick, and he's got a quick release. I like him.
I wonder if they're going to be able to. Have you got a feel for what kind of defense Dusty wants to play? He's not a zone guy.
No, I think he's de facto man-to-man.
And it's going to be interesting to see how.
Well, I'm not saying it's going to be exclusive, but I'm just saying. I know one thing. They're going to push the freaking ball. They are pushing it. I don't care if they have the 2 bigs in there. They're running, and they were running until their tongues were hanging out.
Well, the advantage of having the
well, you know what? They're going to be in shape for the first time in a couple of years.
Yeah, yes. I don't think they were. That's why they faded down the stretch.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Did we have a strength and conditioning guy?
We did until November, December of last year.
Yeah.
After that,
it was by committee.
Yeah, it was after.
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't focus in on that.
Before that, I don't think they were. Let's put it this way: players talk about how things are different this year than they have been over the last.
Oh yeah, Namari. Well, I had a long interview with Namari Burnett. He was awesome kid. He's been to 3. This is 3rd program. He was there last year. Kind of, maybe I might go, but man, he is happy as a clam.
He might go to league.
No, to another school.
From Michigan.
Yeah.
To his fourth.
No. Last year, when the transition, he thought about it for a minute. You know what I mean? You think about where you're going to fit in. That's normal. And he's glad he stayed. He loves the University of Michigan.
Yeah, he should love the University.
And Jeremy Norquist loves Dusty May. What do you like about Dusty May?
I mean, he runs a. I mean, he runs. I mean, if you
he's got a man crush for Dusty May.
If you win at those small mid majors, you can coach those boys up.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, it's just. And I've always thought this, like, you got to win coming up at like these smaller schools, and then you got to prove yourself, and then I think Dusty May is going to be great. And I mean, that's just my opinion. I also like the idea of the 2 7-footers, because you got one that's a big who likes to battle down low, and the golden kid, and you got the other kid, the Wolf kid, that can stretch him out if need be. But like Dot said, Wolf needs to get in shape, because I saw him last year for Yale, and you could see he was
Yale Bulldogs.
He was lumbering up and down the court.
That's the word.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be an issue.
I think that as far as defensively, he's always going to have them. He's like Dusty May, if I can compare him. Maybe a little Jim Harbaugh in them. They're always in the right spots, I feel like. Yeah. Or like the new Jonathan Smith, always in the right spots.
Yeah. In fact, I'm impressed with. I don't know if it's time to talk about Jonathan Smith, but we'll wait till we get there. I'm really impressed with that dude.
I do too. I'm shocked.
We're all over it. I like it.
Shocked is the word.
I like it that way. Okay, see why you relate well to this kid. You know him well. We'll chatter. So I'm watching. I get down to the floor and I'm watching Will go against Vlad. I mean, and he is like, he's playing angry.
Oh yeah.
Will is angry, and of all the guys that played last year for Michigan, he in the post-game presser after a loss, he's the only guy that looked pissed, and I mean, he looked pissed. He was the only guy, in my opinion, that looked like he actually cared.
Well, they all care, but it's just a matter of how it gets expressed.
That's a good point. Very good point. As a former player, from your standpoint,
and he's a guy very similar to the way that I played, where he wears his emotions on his sleeve. Like, you're going to know in the game if he's happy or if he's upset or if he's pissed off or whatever. And after the game, you're going to know. If he's happy and they win the game, man, he'll be sitting in the press conference laughing, smiling, joking. And if they lost and he played like shit, you'll know. Yeah. And he will express those emotions. And you need a guy like that on your team to kind of steer the emotions of the entire club. Yeah. And it seems like he's kind of that dude. You know, we got a lot of other vocal leaders on the court, and he's going to be a vocal leader, but I think he's going to be the emotional leader of the team also. And he's going to really drive, like, man, we're winning or we're losing. We got to get the shit up and going. Like, I think that's what his role is going to be this
He's
year.
the alpha dog on that team.
Yes.
Okay, so you said you taped the Oakland game, man.
No, I didn't tape it.
Okay.
I watched it.
You watched it. Okay. Did you notice a guy named Trey Donaldson?
First.
Yeah, first and foremost.
Yes.
I did too in practice. It was like, whoa. What'd you think about him?
Impressive as a leader. He was controlling them. I don't know how many turnovers he had. Do you recall how many turnovers?
I didn't even look at I didn't see the game. It was NFL day, and I was getting ready for a show.
I know there was a mention by Dusty about not being satisfied with the number of turnovers the team had.
Yeah.
But I don't recall Donaldson being necessarily reckless with the basketball, which is a big-time change of pace.
You think?
Coming off Dougie Fresh.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, man, he's good. He's good.
He's good. He can defend, too.
He's a willing defender. We'll see. Yeah,
willing.
See.
I'm not saying he's Gary Grant, but I mean,
we'll get a better feel tonight when they play Toledo, which is on TV, by the way.
It is on TV?
It's on TV, yep.
No.
BTN.
That's a charity game.
Yes, it is.
Exhibition.
BTN.
Yeah, and then the home opener, guys, is a week from Monday night, Cleveland State.
Yeah, I like Trey. There's another interesting situation for him and Holloway to both leave Auburn.
Yeah.
I wonder what's the story behind that too. It might be NIL related, but Auburn's dishing out a bunch of NIL money. I know for a fact Holloway got big time NIL money.
But when we were talking about dishing out NIL money, how do we know what's being dished out? And
the only way you really know is if the player tells you. And Holloway's mom went to Michigan.
Oh, okay.
His sister is at Michigan now as a freshman on the basketball team.
Oh.
She was close to a number of friends of mine, so I got to know that situation pretty intimately.
I got you.
And what Michigan was doing, but more significantly, what Auburn was doing. And Auburn was cutting big checks and providing big cars.
Yeah.
And they don't deny it. They were doing that through their collective.
Okay.
Or their collective, excuse me, was doing that stuff. That's the only way you know. Anything else is speculative. A lot of people run with this on-3 projection stuff, which is totally fictional.
Right.
All right. Most of these kids are getting NIL stuff either from the collective. The collectives aren't giving up that information.
Okay, I got you.
And they're getting NIL money individually from third parties, and the players aren't revealing that information. So what they're really getting, nobody really knows.
Gotcha. That's what I figured.
I think the only way to tell is if a kid sticks around in a program for multiple years.
Yeah.
Because if they're getting $100,000 at Michigan and they can go to Kansas and get $500,000,
yeah.
I mean, obviously they're leaving and going to Kansas.
Yeah.
You know, that's a no-brainer.
Sure.
And I think that's the only way you can tell if they're really getting paid or not. And that's why you see these kids going, you know, 1 year here, 1 year there, 1 year there, because they keep getting an offer of more money.
Oh,
you know, it's the loyalty of, you know, my era of, okay, this is the school I picked and this is where I'm staying and all that's gone now. You know, there's some guys that want to do that, but most of the guys are like, where can I get paid? And that's how you know that when guys stick around.
Yeah, and sometimes the players simply don't want their number out there.
No.
But if you circumstantially, sometimes they'll talk about they got a more aggressive NIL, but they won't put a number on it.
No.
Yeah.
And then you can draw your own conclusion as to what that number is. But you know, Michigan's numbers are going up.
Well, that's good.
As evidenced
it needs to be.
That's going on in
football. Whatever it takes. Get it up in all regards in terms of that conversation, and get better players and you get better results typically as long as you have good coaching. Jeremy Nordquist, the Big Ten. The Big Ten. So at media days, I was talking to some media. I didn't go to Big Ten media days for basketball, but I talked to some guys on there. There was some chatter that they think that as many as 12 to 14 teams from the Big Ten will make the NCAA tournament. It's that competitive and that good. There's 18 teams now. You got 18 teams. You got so many freaking teams. There's more shot of having that. But, I mean, do you have any idea how the Big Ten is going to go? And then specifically because you live in here in East Lansing, what are you expecting out of Tom Izzo's team?
I mean, listen, like I've said in the past, I think Tom Izzo's a great coach, but I don't think I think they're done.
You think they're done?
Yeah, I mean, they don't.
They're done.
He has said that in the past.
You have said that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean,
what makes you think Michigan State is done and not relevant this year?
I'm not saying they're not relevant. Like they're gonna make it to the tournament.
Done sounds like not relevant.
They're gonna make it to the. Well, they're not. I mean, they're gonna make it to the tournament. Like if I was a Michigan or Michigan State fan, like I love watching basketball.
Yeah.
I would choose to be a Michigan fan right now.
If you had a choice of who to step, what side of the...
Dusty May or Tom. Thomas is a great coach, but like, does that team interest you, Michigan State?
I don't know. That's a great question.
It doesn't interest me. It doesn't interest me. I don't think that they're like they don't like. I like someone who Izzo is competitive as hell.
Yeah,
but
he wants that second natty.
He wants it so
freaking bad.
But they don't like every time you watch him play. Like CY and I went to a game last year, a couple of years ago, and I'm like, he's done. Structurally, defensively, they weren't in the right positions. Izzo has always, every time someone would switch, they'd switch off, they'd always be there. We saw it where they were just getting torched, and Izzo was going nuts. But you can't. Once that's done, it's like when Michigan's like, hey, why don't we have a good quarterback right now?
Yeah.
Like you just can't snap your fingers. You can't be like, okay, now we want. It's like defensively. Once you're halfway through the season, you're not getting that much better on defense.
Right. That's
CY
true.
knows because CY was one of the best defenders.
Yeah.
He had to make up for a lot of shit on the back end, right?
Sure.
Like other guys that didn't defend.
That's true.
So I mean, that's the problem.
There was a lot of that going on. I was a season ticket holder back then. Trust me.
It was a time.
That's one of your loyal handful of fans out there.
I mean, to the millions,
people chewing their popcorn.
to the millions that are watching right now.
Yes.
Take a listen. You guys we're just throwing you cliffhangers.
Yeah. So it's interesting. The Big Ten, though. I think Michigan State and Michigan were 8th and 9th in that poll.
Well, because
that's where you want to be. You want to be in the middle. You don't want to have any expectations.
It's like Michigan State last year. They were preseason top 5, and then they just imploded. They absolutely imploded. That's why I think everyone picked them. Like, pick them, 8 or so, right in the middle of the pack, and we'll see.
They were dying on the vine.
Lets the reins off some of his guys and lets them go out there and play, or if he wants to stay with the same, aggressive mentality and coaching that he's had for the last 30 years of yelling and screaming at guys and we'll see if they respond.
Yeah. So Jeremy, the two guys, we're getting way over our skis on this one. So the two Michigan State games, are you predicting a sweep for the Wolverines?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Oh, come on, man! Whoa!
We're backing away.
Yes.
I don't really know what I'm expecting, but I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't want to say Tom Izzo is a legend, and there's no question about that. But
we're a stone's throw away from campus here.
I understand, but I would choose Dusty May right now. Who would you rather play for? I think.
Well, it's almost
Dusty
like
May.
I would. I mean, experience is awesome, and Tom Izzo is a Hall of Fame coach.
Yes.
And I consider him a friend of mine, but I like sometimes you want a newer vehicle with less miles on them.
Yep.
I mean, and I mean, this is a young man's game when it comes what's going on right now. I mean, with the transfer portal, and so in that regard, I agree with you.
That's my point. And if you look at Bennett at Virginia, he left.
See, that was a red flag to me.
Yeah.
Okay, there's going to be, and we didn't hear anything of the reasoning behind it.
No, it just literally came out.
But
he explained it.
How did he explain it?
I don't like the new game.
Right. And he's 55.
Yeah,
so 55. That's young. That's not young, but I mean you still got you got
10 to 15 years normally in front of you.
Yeah, he talked a lot about his history of developing players.
Right.
He's not getting the Burger Boys necessarily. He's got a bunch of folks that ended up playing in the league though, and those are guys that 2, 3, 4 years, sometimes 5-year guys. And he said those days are over.
That's why Beeline left too, though.
That's right.
Because he wanted to get those guys.
But the thing about it is that John Beeline was such a visionary. He saw that coming 2 years ahead, and he was already girding his loins. Like I'm not going to be able to do this on the parameters that are going to be laid out of how we're going to do this with compensation of athletes and the portal, the one-time transfer thing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much vision you got to have when you see $8-9 million laying on the table.
Well, but he didn't see that. This was back in like 2018, when this conversation I was exposed to. Yeah.
Well, look, man, the reality of it is that any coach in college or in college football or basketball, if they get offered by the pros, they're gone. Name me one coach in college basketball or one coach in college football who has said no, rejected the NFL.
Because you don't have to. You're not paranoid about your personnel literally on a daily basis.
The quality of life.
You're not babysitting.
Yeah, I mean, you have to recruit your players like every freaking day of your life. It's a 365 day.
And have them go to class.
And parents and handlers and
the handlers
and everything else. Like you got to do all that in the NFL.
Let alone all the alumni obligations and all the other stuff that you have to, and recruiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
So they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. It doesn't matter what's going on in college.
Yeah.
The pro life is always better.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're going to close it out here with a hey, it's the day before the Backyard Brawl, Michigan State tomorrow night, 7:30 at the Big House, and I'm going to start with Jeremy because
this is good.
You're bullish on Jonathan Smith, as is Matt as well. What makes you think he's the right guy for
Like
that?
I said before, I love watching college football, college basketball, but I watch it differently than most.
Okay.
C and I watch it the same. So I like watching people where they're in the right positions.
Yeah.
So last
especially
year,
defensively.
Yeah. So last year, Harbaugh. What did I always say? I said they're always in the right spot.
Yeah.
Now it comes down to dudes at that point.
Yeah.
But at least they're in the right spot.
The Jimmys and the Joes. Yes.
Yeah. And so when you watch a Jonathan Smith, last year I told you guys Mel Tucker, dude's running wide open in the secondary. I'm like, what's going on? Like you could see it in the first game.
Yeah.
You do not see that with this Jonathan Smith team.
No.
Dudes are not running wide open.
No.
People are there. Now, if they don't make they could lose. There's no question. But, when I compare them, Michigan's supremely more talented than they are. Michigan's got a bad quarterback. They got a bad offensive line. And you know what? Now, defensively, they're good, except their best defender doesn't really want to be there. Michigan's best
Well,
defender.
no, their best defender is Mason Graham, and he does want to be there, in my opinion.
I would say it's Will Johnson,
Okay.
and he does not want to be there.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He looks like he's uninterested. You like that word, don't you? See why?
Yeah.
Uninterested.
He had a pick, and he's been hurt. But it's going to be interesting to see though if he plays.
Yeah. Well, and if he plays and they lose, does he shut it down for the season?
Oh yeah,
Save his
I mean,
draft stock and all the
hello
injury,
Joey
you know.
Bosa, remember
Yes,
at Ohio
exactly.
State?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
if he plays and they win, then I think he might stretch it out because then he's got an opportunity next week to play against the #1 team in the country and then play against a very good Indiana team. Then of course play
I didn't
against
think
Ohio
about
State.
that. Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but if they lose this one, that puts
Oh no,
them
this
4-4.
is only the fourth
Yeah.
fork in the road game for
yeah.
Michigan this year.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the ultimate.
Yes.
This is the ultimate because if they lose this game, I mean, this team could emotionally check out.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
and there's probably only one more potential win, obviously, the Northwestern game, and Northwestern blew out Maryland on the road.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. Think about Senior Day for Michigan. That's on the 23rd of November. And you're playing Northwestern, and you're headed for a sub-500 record. It's
very
uncanny.
realistic.
Now
Yeah.
USC and Oklahoma have gone south,
Yes.
from their expectation. But Michigan, I think, blows them all away. But hey, they could turn it around a little bit. I'm picking Michigan State 23-10 in this game because I've only seen Michigan State go through that tunnel one time when they were not ready to play in Ann Arbor,
they'll be
and that
ready
was
to play.
2002.
Yeah, Michigan State
Yeah,
will be ready to play.
when Bobby Williams was there. That was
And you think about that. You said 23-10. Can you imagine a world?
Jonathan Kim, 3 field goals.
Right. Can you imagine a world that actually Michigan State this year would have been even like a close, like a 5-point spread? No one would have thought that at the beginning.
Yeah.
No one.
No. Coming into the season, I mean, even I checked what the line was last Friday. It was Michigan 10.5. I just checked it now; it's 5.
Oh,
And
it's
fluctuated between 3.
I mean, come on, common sense would tell you. I mean, has
absolutely.
all the trappings
Oh, yeah.
of which team is motivated, which team is not. Now, I don't know. Maybe there's some leadership over there at the Schembechler Hall where they can flip this thing around. Maybe Colson Leveling can flip. I mean, emotionally, I don't know. We don't know. We're going to find out. Yeah. I'm telling you what. The key thing for Michigan, this is it. If they haven't had any turnovers. They just turned the ball over. It's been 3-0. Yep. If they would get a pick 6 in this game early on, that would be huge.
Oh, and it'll be huge for the fans too.
Yeah, because the fans will check in. Because the fans are right now, man. They're ready to check out. I mean, these. We always talk about fanboys. Okay, after the Texas game, if not that, it was after sputtering against USC in Minnesota, but. Fire Sharon Moore, as Ward can go with them, blah, 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 blah. It's crazy. And Sharon Moore is not going to get fired after this year.
No.
Is that a safe statement?
Was that a rhetorical question?
No, well, yeah, well, whatever. You put the adjective in front of it, okay? Okay, so, but I will say this. If this thing sputters at 4-8 when they drop their last 6 or 7 games, there'll be some coordinator firing going on, don't you think, on the offensive side
I would expect that
with Kirk Campbell and other places.
Yep.
You put the name to it. I didn't. Yeah, I would expect some changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you expect tomorrow night? I know we got into this hope thing.
Man,
you threw this hope word out there.
Speaking of fans rolling out, I was at the game last week in Champaign.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And as soon as he threw that interception, the Michigan crowd, and there were a bunch of Michigan people in the
There
stadium.
was. I heard there was a good turnout.
In one particular section, they were like, we're out of here, man. We're out of here. Look, they are teetering on being better.
Teetering on being better. That's interesting. Interesting analogy.
It all starts with the quarterback play.
Yeah.
If they can get, they played on one side of the field mostly last year. The defense was put in a bad position last year.
Yeah.
A lot of it because of the turnovers that were going on. A lot of those turnovers were unforced turnovers. There were people there, plays to be made, but they
got a lot more yards than Illinois did last week. Yeah.
And the defense really kept Illinois in check.
Yeah.
So if the defense steps up, I don't think Will Johnson gonna play tomorrow. So you talk about pick 6, they're gonna need a pick 6. I don't want a pick 6 from him. I have to come from Mason Graham.
Oh, Mason Graham is a dog. He's a dog.
Yeah.
I mean, I just watch him. Watch him. But you know the thing I watch, guys, is when the ball is snapped. I've mentioned this a number of times. I go when I'm in the stadium, not on TV. I look to the I look to the wide receiver routes that Michigan's wideouts are running. I look to the secondary of the opposition and see who's open, and then my eyes scan to the line of scrimmage to see what's transpiring there. But no separation. I mean, Greg McMurtry's not out there, man.
You talking about a wide receiver?
Yeah.
He wasn't a separation guy either.
Well,
I mean, you got to.
No, he got behind. There's nobody that can get. Now, Michigan State has a guy named Nick Marsh out of River Rouge. That dude can get behind a defense. He's a flat-out dude.
Okay,
they don't have a dude like
think
that.
About this on the flip
they
side.
don't have a dude like that.
You know, we're 7 games working on our 8th game into the football season.
Yep.
If you're running these routes hard the first couple weeks of the season,
Yeah.
and you don't have a quarterback that can get you the ball,
Yeah.
are you going to keep running those routes as hard?
That's true.
Are you going to keep exploding
Good
up
point.
the line, knowing that
Good
you're going to
point,
get
Eli.
underthrown by 10 yards
Yeah.
and overthrown by 10
Yeah.
yards?
Good point.
Are you really going to run them that hard?
Yeah.
I mean, as a former player, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about that watching these guys because
Yeah.
I saw the same thing. Like we don't have that dude that's just going to break away.
Yeah.
You know, that's just going to run that 9 route and just beat somebody down the
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
Because we got no one that can throw the ball.
Yeah.
And Aiden Childs will throw the ball to Michigan.
Well, yeah, you see, he's an X factor because he makes.
You never know.
I
He's
mean,
like a box of chocolates. You never know.
Yeah, you're right, man. He can.
Yeah. If we can limit our turnovers and generate 1, maybe 2 turnovers by state, we win the game.
Well, I think you know. I'm gonna be. I don't think this is gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. But if Michigan wins a turnover battle, I think they win the game.
They will.
Because you know why? Because I think they're gonna outrush Michigan State.
I don't know about that.
I think they will if they don't turn. Yeah,
Well,
I think.
it depends on who they're rushing with. If they got a steady diet,
You know what?
Mullings, then yes, then they'll
Okay.
rush. But everybody's so
Okay.
dialed into down
You
the
know.
networks.
You know what I want? I want 2003. Chris Perry, 51 carries against Michigan.
Who the chain, Chris?
Okay.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah. I was at that game.
I was at the game too. 51 or 52 carries.
Something like
Okay,
that.
something like that. Okay.
51
And
and a half.
yeah, and
3 yards on a cloud of dust.
quick story because a friend of mine is on the chain gang at Michigan State, so that means you're on the visitor sideline. So they're trying to close the game out, and Chris gets pulled out of the game because they're going to punt. And Michigan State ended up throwing in the end zone at the end. So I mean, it was a judgment call on Lloyd, and I guess Chris went freaking nuts.
He did.
You know, I didn't run the effing ball 51 effing times for this bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, so hey, but it worked out. Thank God. Thank God. Anyway, so hey. CY, great job. Hey, we're just getting warm. Can you imagine how much fun we're going to have this year? If we can get all these, illustrious business people together, former athletes, and do this. It's a lot of fun. And so, quick prediction on Saturday. I gave you my score.
Man.
Yeah. Come on, this is not
24-21 Michigan walk-off field goal.
Ooh, nice, man.
I'll go with that.
24 matching a 3-point win. Jeremy Norquist. I have 23-10 Michigan State, and I hope to hell I'm wrong. But you, Jeremy, your thoughts?
20-17 Michigan State.
Ooh.
And they dominate the Michigan offensive line gets dominated the whole game.
Wow, interesting.
All right.
We'll see how it goes. All right, guys, great job. Until next time, down the blocks, Chris Young and the boys. Talk proper.